Hello, this is Julia Widdop with Talk Story TV, and today I have with me Kytka, who is the author of a book called Book Power. And so this is probably going to be a good thing for the authors who are listening out there. Tell us more about your book, Kytka.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today. I wrote Book Power because I used to teach live events, helping people, business owners and entrepreneurs, to create their message in a packaged form to help them to gain leads and to help them to grow their business by having higher credibility, more of an expert status, etc. And through the live events, I just had so many requests of people wanting actually a product, a book to be able to take with them, share with their friends and family, and that was sort of how it was born.
Okay, so these were not authors looking for books, but they were business owners who decided they needed a book to back them up.
Right. Primarily the people that I work with are writing nonfiction, and they're writing about something that they do that they want themselves to be separated in their marketplace. So the books and the training that I used to hold would teach people that it's really a credibility building tool, tongue-tied this morning, and a door opener. Because oftentimes people's messages aren't quite heard, and there's so much social media noise and just everyone's so busy, it's difficult to get lost in the mix. But when you hand them your book and you say, look, this is my service, this is what I do, that's not something that gets thrown out with the garbage. I mean, it's the big business card of today.
Right. Okay. And that way people get to know them by reading their book.
Exactly. So therefore, it's also sort of a lead generation, pre-qualifying type of a tool. Because if someone has taken the time to read your book, now they know how you conduct your business, why you do your business, why it's so important. You know, the way, I guess we could call it your voice. They understand your voice, and through that they feel they have a relationship with you. Those people are more apt to move forward in business with you than someone that you just meet at a networking meeting and hand them your business card.
Right, because they know you better because of the book.
Yeah, it creates an intimacy and builds relationship.
Wow. Okay. And how far do you go in the coaching on the book? You're coaching them how to write the book or how to publish it, or both?
Both and then some.
Okay.
So at first it was a very simple handouts and manuals I was giving out at the course. And then I was actually coaching further to take people through the process of building a brand, establishing a platform, how to position themselves as the expert in their area of expertise. And I ended up putting all of that into the book. But I think the most unique thing and the most important thing about the book is the way that I coach them through the process, that it's not as much about writing as it is about crafting and creating your message in a way that's really going to move you forward. Okay. Something that I encounter with everyone is, I'm not a writer. Everybody says, I'm really good at what I do, but I'm not a writer. And, I've thought about writing a book for 10 years, but then I sit down and nothing comes out. And those types of things get taken away when you understand how books today are really made. Very few of the author-speaker people in that expert sort of space and industry, very few of them actually sit and write. They're recording and having those recordings transcribed. They're working with a team of people then organizing the content, et cetera, et cetera. So I unveil all of those mysteries in the book, and I take you through a process where we break it down into little pieces that every day you have an action step and you get closer and closer. You sort of build like a framework around with the table of contents, the title, chapters, etc. And then you're just plugging and filling in your content that the book sort of writes itself.
Okay. And so what is your role in that? They just call you when they're stuck, or?
Well, I wanted to empower anyone just to have the information, and I'm very passionate about new startups, young entrepreneurs, and people that have gone through crisis. So I wanted it not to be an upsell, if you will, for my program. I wanted the book to be enough. So if they follow everything that's in the book, I'm actually giving them the meat, the potatoes, the whole thing. The book's not just selling the sizzle and then, and by the way, I have coaching. I do offer those services. But with the book, you'll have all the information you need to craft a book from start to finish and to take those first steps of creating a book trailer video, getting on radio interviews, joint venturing for a book launch. You'll understand what all those things mean, how to properly publish it through CreateSpace, which is owned by Amazon, very quickly, very inexpensively, basically with about $100 after the fact of people, paying for those certain services. They could have a book in their hands very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Wow. That sounds like a good deal. And who is the intended audience again? Your intended audience?
Well, it actually, anyone who has a message, anyone who wants to reach out and share their message with the world, whether they want to gain clients, whether they want to position in a different way, or they have something really amazing and cool to talk about. So the people that I have worked with, they've been in the spiritual and self-development field. Mm-hmm. They've been doctors, lawyers, dentists wanting to talk about, the new uses of specific treatments, the pros and cons, etc. But, there's a lot of the book has to do with how you upload it to Amazon, how you write your book's description, how you choose and select categories, because Amazon really works more like a search engine than just the store that we all believe it to be. So I give all of those things away in the book as well. I help you to choose and select the proper place where to put your book so that you can very quickly engineer yourself a bestseller.
Oh,
and of course, when you have that, now you haven't only written the book, you've written the best-selling book.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's very exciting.
So, and you put your book through those same steps, I assume?
Yes, yes.
So tell us something about your platform.
Well, how do you mean platform? Because platform means different things to different people.
Well, tell us what it is to you. You said you would advise them to get a platform, and I'm wondering what that is.
A platform is basically your home or your online presence on the internet. Let's say that you have a Twitter and you have a Facebook and you have a personal page website for your writing, but then you also have a professional service, so maybe your company has a website. The proper construction of a platform would be bringing all of those elements together so that you have like one home base. One place where they can find you, communicate with you, learn about you personally, socially, your business, your services, your products, all of those things.
Okay. So then that one home base is the platform, or the whole thing's the platform, but you try to have it start from one home base.
Well, for search engine optimization purposes, for ease of use and that people aren't confused, today many people have all those social media accounts, but they don't know how to work them together in a way where all of the messages are synchronized and actually adding power to how to attract those people to their sites. They've just heard somewhere, I need a Facebook account, I need a Twitter account, and business owners get all these accounts, but they're not consistent with the way that they message and communicate with people, which causes disconnect with potential clients and customers. Okay.
Wow. So you kind of cover all that in this book. Sounds like a great book. Do you want to read us an excerpt from it?
Actually, no, because it sort of breaks up into action steps. I'm a very action-oriented person, but I have a story that I'd like to share that might illustrate the power a little bit more and help people to get over the writer's block and move forward.
Okay.
And is that good? Yeah?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I have a friend. I've known this fella in my neighborhood for several years, and his family, and I share this story in the book because it touched me so deeply and it's very powerful. So his family has 3 generations of pizza. That's what they do. They came over from Sicily and they've had, grandfather had a pizza place, father had a pizza place, and now my friend Johnny had his pizza place. But he's young, he's interested in internet marketing, he read the 4-Hour Work Week, and that's his fantasy, his dream to be the next Tim Ferriss. And everybody has these dreams to break away from the 9 to 5 or the obligations that we have and live this superstar life. So he dabbles in that a bit. And I told him, I said, Johnny, you know what I do? I help people to write a book about marketing pizza places. And he didn't understand that. He said, how many pizza places can there be, et cetera? And we ran the number. It's actually an amazing large amount. And there are people marketing. Yes.
There's 2 in every little strip mall.
And there's a strip mall on every corner. And right now with today's economy, many of those are shutting down. And those lovely business owners, they're pulling out their hair. They don't know what they're going to do. And it's sad. But Johnny is not only thriving, he's opened a second location. And I'm like, whatever you're doing right. And it would help these other people. And it doesn't necessarily have to be pizza. The ice cream store, the hamburger joint, any of these places can use the same type of info. So stop looking for the shiny object and trying to be somebody else. Take your 3 generations of information and strategies that you've learned and speak those out to the world. So the conversation went into, I don't know how to write, I'm not an author, I don't have time, all of the typical arguments. And I said, let's just put this aside. If you were going to share with somebody, just answer 1 or 2 questions for me. How is it that employees stay on working with you? How is it that you get them to come into the door? And I was sitting at my desk and I have a camera always handy. And I turned the camera on, but in a way that I didn't open the lens or anything. He didn't know I had it on. It was just for the purpose of recording him. So as he started talking, and he spoke for about 15 minutes, he came to life. He got very animated, and his energy was kind of all over the place. And of course, this information just came out of him at quantum speed. It was like he was channeling it from some other place, because that's the brilliance of what he knows. And so he said, okay, enough about this. I'm not going to write a pizza book. I've got to go. And he left. I speak about outsourcing quite a bit in the book, having other people do the long, tedious jobs for you. So I took that video. I uploaded to YouTube, which took me all of about 2 minutes. I went to a site called Fiverr.com, Fiverr, where you can pay $5 only to get all sorts of things done for you. And I said, look, I've got this 15-minute thing that I need transcribed. The next day, I had 8.5 pages, 9 pages of content. So I kept it on my desk waiting for when Johnny would come visit again. About a week later, he comes over, and at the door, I stopped him. I said, Johnny, you're not going to believe it. Remember just last week we were talking about pizza marketing and someone writing a book? I printed a couple of pages. You have to read this. So Johnny sat down. He started reading it. He started to, he was just enthralled. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Wow, I can't believe this. Ooh, this guy really knows his stuff. He didn't connect that was him. He didn't connect. So I said, come here a minute. And I turned on the file that I had saved on my computer of the audio, and I let him listen to that. And he broke down into tears because he couldn't comprehend that all of that awesomeness, that content, that brilliance, that value actually came out of him. And on paper, this is what it looked like to a reader. And it was, transformative. It was so powerful. And so many people that I do work with on a one-to-one basis and coach and consult, I never tell them, go home, do your homework, and write something. I pull them up on Skype, or if they're locally located, I visit with them, and we just record conversations and have them transcribed. And so I guess the moral of that story is never ever let the I'm not a writer, I don't have time, I don't know how to write stop you, because whatever it is that you do, you do very well. And you may not be at the top of the pinnacle of, the grand professor of all of everything of what you do, but whether you've invested 2 years or 5 years or 20 years, there's people that are on day one that might benefit from the shortcuts and the pitfalls to avoid the mistakes that you've had. There's people that can benefit from your information. So, I think that everybody should write a book and never let the technology or the mythological concept of writer's block stop them. I think we all have something very powerful to share, and that we all have an audience of listeners who'd appreciate that information from us.
Wow.
I get excited about this stuff too, as you can see.
Yes. Yes, that sounds wonderful. And I think that's going to be very helpful for some people. Very helpful. So, and where can they buy your book?
Well, they can get it at Amazon, but right now, because we're actually launching, this is our launch week, they can go to bookpowerbook.com, and if they get it through there, then there's a couple of bonuses that I'm giving away. So a Skype call with me, wonderful. An author hangout, and then an interview with a book launch professional to sort of explain that process. So those things are valuable, and I'd encourage them to go there and use those bonuses, definitely.
Okay, that sounds good. So again, that is bookpowerbook.com. Yeah. Bookpowerbook.com. Okay, right. And were you going to write a guest blog for us?
Would you like me to write a guest blog for you?
I would love that.
Are there any specific questions, any specific things that you'd specifically like me to address?
No, just whatever you would like. And you can put some links to your website. So okay. I would encourage anyone who's watching this to go to tvbackstory.com and read Kytka's article. And you can hook up to her websites there.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Julia, for having me here. Have a great day.
You too.